Welcome to the WP-Tonic This Week in WordPress and SaaS podcast, where Jonathan Denwood interviews the leading experts in WordPress, e-learning, and online marketing to help WordPress professionals launch their own SaaS.
Welcome back, folks, to the WP-Tonic show, This Week in WordPress and SaaS. I've really been looking forward to this interview. Our guest has had some weather problems, but it wouldn't stop him from coming on to the show, folks, and it's going to be a great discussion. He seems up for it. I've got David Valentine with us. He's the CEO of Avadel. Hopefully I pronounced it correctly, but my ability to butcher my guests and their companies' names is unsurpassable, as if you're a regular listener of you have observed so regularly. So I'm also going to let my co-host Kirk introduce himself. Kirk, would you like to introduce yourself to the listeners and viewers?
Yeah, Jonathan, great. My name is Kurt Von Annen. I own an agency called Mañana No Mas. We focus largely on membership and e-learning type properties. And the whole thing with Mañana No Mas is about being on time and under budget.
That's great. And in this interview, we're going to be discussing David's speciality, which is generating leads for agencies and SaaS. It's an important subject, always important, but on steroids in 2023. He's got a lot of experience. I'm really looking for this interview. But before we go into the main meat and potato of the show, I've just got a couple messages from our major sponsors. We'll be back in a few moments, folks.
Are you looking for ways to make your content more engaging? Sensei LMS by Automatic is the original WordPress solution for creating and selling online courses. Sensei's new interactive blocks can be added to any WordPress page or post. For example, interactive videos let you pause videos and display quizzes, lead generation forms, surveys, and more. For a 20% off discount for the tribe, just use the code WP-Tonic, all one word, when checking out, and give Sensei a try today.
The importance of backing up your WordPress website cannot be emphasized enough. We use BlogVault to help us do this on a daily basis. With free staging, migrations, and on the Pro plans, malware scanning and autofix, BlogVault is the professional's choice when managing just one website or many. Go to blogvault.com and see for yourself. You seriously won't find a better, more complete solution. That's blogvault.com, blogvault.com.
We're coming back, folks. I also want to say that I've got a new major sponsor, that is Zolo.com. Zolo is looking for some great partnerships in the WordPress agency community and in the developer community. And if you're a SaaS and you're looking for a CRM and other great marketing and managerial tools, Zoho is amazing, and it's amazing value as well. So go over there. They're looking for some great partnerships. So go over to Zolo/partners, Zoho/partners, and see what they're offering. They really want to build their connections in the WordPress community. So, David, can you give us a quick outline of your background and how you got into lead generation and what drove you to where you are now, David?
Yeah. So when I was a kid, I was an entrepreneur. You know, like at the age of 3, I was selling, drawings that I had done as a 3-year-old to friends of the family for $40. And at the age of 10, I was selling candy bars and pencils and pens out of my backpack. And I've always had this sense of building businesses is kind of what I'm up to. When I was 18, I started to get into marketing and advertising. And it was, I tell my staff this now and they look at me sideways, but I was doing it on MySpace and Friendster, and Facebook wasn't even a thing yet. And in my early day, Twitter wasn't a thing. And so like all these social media platforms that we have now were not available, but I cut my teeth doing some video editing, doing some web design 1.0, and really started to develop into going towards marketing and doing the agency route. And so at the age of 25, I started my first grown-up company, as I like to say, and built that thing up over the course of 4 years into a nice little 7-figure business that I networked my way to. And then I went to the doc, and the doc said, hey, you're 29, Dave, let's do some tests. You're about to be 30. Let's kind of give you a physical. And I start going through the process, and he says, hey, you're the most stressed out person we've ever tested. We've tested 4,500 people. If you don't change what you're doing, you're not going to see 40. I had 2 small kids at the time. I was like, wow, I have to, I'm going to have to change some things.
Well,
so,
the reason why I'm grinning, Dave, is you look very chilled out. I get the vibe that you're a very chilled out person.
Yeah, I am now. I had to do some sincere work to figure that out. One of the things that I did for my business was I started generating leads and meetings through cold email outreach and creative direct mail follow-up. And it exploded my company, and it led to me being able to exit. And then now what I did was, when I left that company, I was able to take the best part of our lead gen and then give that away to other people now through Avadel. And I've also either started or purchased 7 other businesses. And so I now, get to run 8 different businesses from the mountains and the woods on a river. It's not a bad life.
So what led, just a quick follow-through question, what led into the present company, which you're the CEO of, and you make some bold statements on your website, but I checked you over and you got a lot of experience in this area, so I'll give you credence about being able to well, it's true, isn't it, David? There's loads of people on the internet making all sorts of claims, isn't there, David?
Sure.
But I checked you over, and you got a lot of experience, and you got some credence. But your company makes some bold statements about being able to generate leads and getting people in front of on the business to business. What led you? Before I throw it over to Kirk, what made you focus in that particular sector, Dave?
Yeah, my real goal is to serve entrepreneurs. And a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with how to generate meaningful leads. A lot of times, especially in the B2B space, what I hear is, let's network our way. Let's network our way. And that's what I did, And I have compassion for those people. So when I looked at it, I just went, what would be a meaningful result that we could generate for B2B companies that would actually help their businesses grow? I believe that small business is the way, right? And so I'm like, all right, what can we do for that? And it came down to, we could put meetings on their calendar. That would be the most impactful thing that we could control that would actually help these businesses grow. Obviously, I'm not built to take on sales calls for all these companies. We've toyed with that idea, by the way, Jonathan, just so you know. We're like, man, what if we took these and sold them? And it's not off the table. For right now, though, what we've done instead is we're like, we can generate these meetings, and then we're going to train our clients how to close these deals. So part of what all of our clients get, it's one of the questions I ask for every company that I own, after they sign on, what's the next problem that they're going to have, right? So the minute that someone says yes, they immediately start to doubt, did I make the right decision? How can we start to give them the confidence and the ability to be actionable on the decision they just made to invest in their company? And so part of that is putting them through free sales training. And it's highly effective because we take so many cold meetings every single month for every business. And most of our clients don't. Most of our clients are still growing their business via referral. They're growing their business via affiliate. If they're in the SaaS space, they're growing their business in some other way. And so doing cold email outreach, doing creative direct mail follow-up, that sales process is a foreign concept to them. And so it requires a new way to approach the selling process. And we train people how to do that. So I got into it, honestly, Jonathan, because I was like, this is going to help agencies, SaaS products, B2B companies more than anything else.
So you basically, through your experience, you saw the need for yourself and you just thought that you could fulfill something that you were looking for and needed in an effective way.
Yeah. And I think that a lot of times my best businesses come out of the space of what do I need right now? Or what did I need back then? Or what do people need in that space, in that circumstance? How can we help them? A lot of times I think entrepreneurs try to do something new and fresh. And it's like, actually, if you just take an old model and use it in a new way, interact with it in a new fashion, you may actually have the best business out there. There's something that was interesting that I found that was 20% of businesses fail because there's no market need. And so it's people that come up with a new idea and there's just not a market need versus something that, and this is, everybody that's listening to this, they're an agency. There are agencies a dime a dozen, right? There are hundreds, thousands of us. And the reality is there are new ways to do old things that can generate lots of revenue.
Yeah, it really resonates with me because I've used SEO and content marketing to drive traffic to my website and then convert it. But I am actually looking to do B2B outreach myself. I'm on the midst of planning it all out. So it kind of gelled with me. So over to you, Kurt.
Thanks, Jonathan. David, when I heard that we were going to be talking to you, I looked some things up, right? Because I was like, I got to know what I'm talking to this guy about. And I was really intrigued by the outrageous offer messaging and stuff like that. And I, too, am really drawn to small companies and small business and helping them and with all their stuff, with the membership and the learning sites and stuff. And I am constantly amazed at how when I talk to a lot of small business owners, they don't really have a firm idea of what their main offer actually is or what their outrageous offer could possibly be. What's your methodology for overcoming that obstacle or getting people to really embrace that outrageous offer or key offering that they're going to put out?
Yeah. So the first thing is, what is it that your clients really want? So your clients would say, well, I want a website that's going to generate more revenue. Okay, great. What does the more revenue get you? Does it get you more time with your kids? Does it give you more peace of mind? Does it allow you to grow and scale so that you can sell because you want to be able to exit and go write your novel? What does it do? Right. And so it's really getting close to your customers and asking them questions that are going to be of value to you and to them. One of the things that we teach in our sales training, Kurt, is you don't just dig for pain. That's important. Like, hey, what does this mean for you? If you don't do this, what is it going to cost you? But you also pull out, what's the dream? What's the goal? And if you can get close to that, you start to get the seeds of a great offer. And so that's where we start out is, what's the dream? What's the dream outcome here for your client? And then the next place that we like to go is, hey, listen, what's the main thing, right? So if the dream is, I want to sell my company, let's say, what is the ultimate main thing that we need to be selling to them then? Is it actually that we're going to increase their revenue, or we're going to help them increase their profit? What is the main thing? For agencies, it's almost exclusively, I'm going to help you increase your revenue and maybe I help you with your profits up, right? So if that's the case, then we need to be talking about it in that fashion. Hey, look, we worked with this client. They saw X result and in Y time, right? So I love to say 90 days or less is a very strong case study. So if I say, hey, I worked with Kurt, we did some SDR work. In the first 58 days, we booked 24 B2B meetings. He closed 3 of them. And that was, $97,000 in revenue in the first 2 months. That's a really strong case study. That's extremely powerful. People go, wow, that's a lot of money really fast. That's a great turnaround time. I could see the value in that. Man, I want to enjoy that as well. So the next part of that outrageous offer is honestly looking at what's a guarantee that you can provide, right? For agencies, almost exclusively, you're going to have to provide a conditional guarantee. Hey, listen, we guarantee A, but you're going to have to do B, C, D, E, F, or maybe it's just B, C, right? But they have to do something in order to get the guarantee. What is it that they need to do? And this was the thing that I figured out in my first agency. I was running Facebook and Instagram ads, and I started to realize like everybody wanted a guarantee. So what I would tell people is, hey, listen, I'll guarantee you a return on ad spend, but you have to give me a few things. So thing number one, I need to be able to approve the landing pages of each product page. Thing number two, I need free shipping for all new customers. I'd love to have it for everybody, but I need it for at least all new customers. Number three, I need to have a product a month that I can reduce to at least map pricing. I'd really love to be able to do it like 20% above cost. I want to discount something huge. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up some systems on the back end that are going to upsell for a product that's going to be complementary to the one they purchased. If you give me that, I'll give you a ROAS guarantee. Now, a lot of people, they'd say, okay, cool, let's do that. But I don't know if I want to give you all that. I'm like, that's fine. We can still work together. I just can't guarantee a return on ad spend here. But if you want to do that, I will. So some of them would say yes, and then they'd be our best customers, right? Because if you have that outrageous offer, if you can guarantee something, even if not everybody qualifies for it, if you're using it in your marketing, Kurt, it does wonders for how many meetings you book. It does wonders for closing sales. It does wonders for how people understand how to interact with you, what they're going to get. And so, yeah, it's a huge deal. And when you think about it, every large company that you can imagine has a great offer. AT&T right now, hey, you switch to us, we'll give your entire family iPhone 14s right now, free. It's free to you. Well, that's a lot. You know, if you have a family of four, that's $4,000 worth of equipment that they're just giving to you. Well, how do they afford that? Well, they know they're going to make it back, right? So outrageous offers are something that sound too good to be true, but are actually extremely lucrative. The other example I have for this too, real quickly, and then I'll be done, is Costco. Costco does whole chickens for $4.99. They put them at the back of their store. It's huge stores, right? $4.99 whole rotisserie chickens. And then what they do is they put the alcohol and the other prepared food, their high margin items, right next to it. So what they figured out was last year, they lost $21 million on chickens because it costs more than $4.99 to produce those chickens, right? But out of that, the average purchase price, again, think this, you're going in to purchase a $5 chicken. The average person, when they left Costco, just going in to get a chicken, spent $119. So they didn't spend the $5. They spent more money doing that other stuff, and it was a really valuable offer.
I must be doing it wrong because I always said that going to Costco had a $200 cover charge.
Yeah, if my wife
that's an expensive club to get into, man. Yeah. All right. Jonathan, can I throw it back to you?
Yeah, I think we'll go for our middle break, folks. It's been a great discussion so far. I knew David would be an interesting guest. We will be back in a few moments, folks.
Hey, it's Spence from launchflows.com. If you've been looking for a fast and easy way to create powerful sales funnels on WordPress, then look no further than LaunchFlows. In just minutes, you can easily create instant registration, upsells, downsells, order bumps, one-click checkouts, one-time offers, custom thank you pages, and best of all, no coding is required. For as little as $50 per year, you can own and control your entire sales funnel machine with LaunchFlows. Get your copy today.
This podcast episode is brought to you by Lifter LMS, the leading learning management system solution for WordPress. If you or your client are creating any kind of online course, training-based membership website, or any type of e-learning project, Lifter LMS is the most secure, stable, well-supported solution on the market. Go to lifterlms.com and save 20% at checkout with coupon code podcast20. That's podcast20. Enjoy the rest of your show.
We're coming back, folks. I just want to point out that if you're looking for a great hosting partner for your WordPress agency, look at WP-Tonic. We specialize in e-learning and community websites, but we work with any agency. We got premier WordPress hosting, plus we offer a suite of plugins that will just work fantastic. That got over $10,000 worth of value, which you get as part of the hosting plan. So go over and sign up at WP-Tonic/partners, WP-Tonic/partners, and work with us in building your WordPress agency with a company that's got over 15 years of experience in the WordPress community. So let's go on to our next question of the interrogation, David. We have ways and means of getting the truth out of you. I think, and I've struggled with this, it's just mind-blowing. It's been a 3-year journey. I've got over 15 years experience in the WordPress area, David, as a developer working for agencies. Oh God, that made me lose all my hair, David. Working for local agencies in Northern Nevada. Then I worked for myself with face-to-face with entrepreneurs. That's been an interesting ride. And then I found my speciality about 4 years ago. But it's been such a journey. It's finding that key offering, that and how to explain it effectively on a website. It seems easy, but it's not. It's not at all. Got any insights about what we're talking about? What is the key offering? And you got any kind of insights that you could put in 3 or 4 minutes about how you find it?
Yeah.
Only a small question, David.
That's right. Well, it's interesting. You're not the only one, Jonathan. Every entrepreneur that I talk to struggles with this. And one of my favorite friends in this space, he put it and he said, it's really hard to read the label on a wine bottle when you're inside the bottle. And that's what it's like to figure that out, to put it on your site, to figure out your messaging. So I get brought in a lot to consult with agencies and SaaS companies, and I help them figure out how to do this, right? Because it is a challenge, sincere challenge. The way that I've kind of figured it out is I always go, hey, listen, people are not here to purchase a feel-good thing, right? They're not here because you're a media buyer. That's not what they're here. They're here because they need the results that a great media buying agency gives you. They're not here because they need a new website. They're here for the results of what a new website can bring you. So if you lead with results-oriented language, right? Is it going to save you time? Is it going to make you money, either in revenue and profit? Is it going to increase? It's going to make you more healthy? Is it going to help your relationships? Those are the 4 things that you can do in every aspect of any product or service you sell. Those are the 4 things. People are always asking me like, well, what's a Mercedes-Benz? And I'm like, that's status, which is all about relationship, right? Like that's all that is. It's all about relationship. And so if you distill it down to really simple terms, it actually gives you the ability to make it really simple for other people to pick up what you're doing. So it really is getting down to what is the main thing? What do they want if they engage with us? What is going to make us different? What's fascinating to me, Jonathan, is I go on to so many agency websites and I know that it's an agency site because it's got a beautiful design. It's got really flowery, beautiful, you want to stand out. We make you stand out in the crowd, and it's like the same sort of like, it's got some sex appeal to the copy that's written and it doesn't drive any results. And I love to ask agency owners, hey, how many leads you getting through your website every month? And they'll go, oh, like 1, 2. I'm like, well, yeah, it's because you have no call to action. They don't do the things they would do for their own clients to themselves. And so, it's really distilling down what is the result that clients are going to get if they engage with you. And if you can do that, you're going to be ahead of 99% of agencies.
Yeah, it's kind of a bit linked to the Greek philosophers. They say the biggest challenge is to know thyself. And most people don't bother, but it's normally your friends and your close partner and your friends and your family that know you better than you know yourself. Yeah. And I think you're describing that, isn't it? You could be in the weeds, can't you? And not really understand how you're being seen by others, can't you?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, if you're struggling with that and you're like, hey, I don't know what to do and I can't afford to hire someone to help me figure this out, you can talk to your current clients. Hey, what made you say yes to working with me? I'm just curious, why do you continue to work with me? What is it? What's in it for you? What are you looking for? What are you trying to get? And they'll be honest, right? Sometimes they'll tell you something that you don't want to hear too. I had a consulting client of mine. She did this. She started asking some of her clients, hey, why did you engage? One of her clients said, because you're cheap. And I was like, do you want to be that? And she goes, no, I don't want to be cheap. I was like, and so it became this kind of dialogue of, okay, how are you presenting yourself? How are you marketing yourself? How are you selling yourself? Is it presenting in such a way that is actually where you want to go? And again, it's funny, fellas, like we're talking about people that specialize in marketing and they miss the boat on their own stuff. And it happens all the time.
Yeah. Over to you, Kurt.
Well, you opened with being stressed out with your first company and having to make some changes. And then we've got a stat here that says that 72% of entrepreneurs suffer some type of mental health issue. Do you have any suggestions or kind of like best practices for entrepreneurs to kind of stay out of the weeds and keep their head on straight?
I just want to say, David, that I totally know that I'm bonkers. I've just accepted it, David, and Kirk works for me on some projects, and everybody that works for me has accepted that they're dealing with somebody that's pretty bonkers.
Yeah, I am a huge believer in self-care, routines and habits. So it was one of the things that led to me at 29 not doing well. When I was in high school and in college, I was an athlete. I worked out on a consistent basis. I ate well. I took care of myself. I meditated regularly. And as I got older, had a business that was successful. Only 7% of companies in the country do 7 figures. So I was in the top 7% of entrepreneurs and business owners. And I was struggling because I had 2 small kids. I had a successful business that needed me to be everything to everyone. I needed to go to networking events and da-da-da-da-da. And ultimately what I ended up figuring out, Kurt, was that I needed to put those practices back in place. So if you're at a point right now, you're listening to this and you're struggling, I'll tell you exactly how I got started. 3 days after I had that conversation with my doc, I just went, okay, you can't not do anything, but you don't have time and space margin right now to do what you really want to do in the future. So what can you do? So I gave myself some very low bars of success. You drink a glass of water, you walk for 5 minutes a day. Anything more than that is gravy. But success, glass of water, 5-minute walk. Now, 19 out of 20 days, I'd do a 30-minute walk or more, right?
Yeah.
Or I'd go for a run, or I'd go lift at the gym. That being said, there was one day out of the 20 where 5 minutes was all I could do. It's all I had in me. Most days I drink way more than a glass of water, just one. I'd have many. But there were some days where, man, I went straight from drinking coffee to, oh man, it's 6 o'clock at night. I should probably calm down and have a beer or something to kind of like bring myself down. Okay, get a water in between, because there were just days where you're running hard and fast. So it was simple things like that. Now what I do is I do an infrared sauna 4 days a week. I lift or exercise 6 days a week. I go get out in nature. Like there was a study that was done that shows that if you look at a living green plant for 3 minutes, it has a noticeable drastic change in your cortisol levels. It reduces them by 52%. So if you just get out in nature and you move and walk around, you see trees, you breathe clean air, it does something for our psyches. We were not supposed to be in buildings as much as we are. And I'm sure just like everybody listening to this, I work on a screen all day. We didn't evolve to look at screens. This is a new concept to humanity, and it's a challenge. And so we need to engage our more ancient parts of our minds and bodies in order to have the sort of mental and physical health that is necessary in order to have and find success in the businesses that we run.
Yeah, well, for one, I'm a strong believer in beer therapy as well. So
there you go, Kurt.
I jumped right into that in the afternoon. And for me, it was mountain biking, David. I'll stare at the screen and nothing's happening and I'm not being productive. And I go, you know what? I just go out and pedal for an hour or two. I come back and I can knock out 2-3 days worth of work in an afternoon after a mountain bike ride. But I think everyone's got to find their niche. Everyone's got to find their magic button,
Absolutely.
Yeah, it kind of it also really resonated with me, David, because just to share something, about 18 months ago, about 2 years ago, I'm 6 foot, but I'd gone up to 310 pounds in weight. Wow. And I wasn't very happy, and that I had a really big beer belly, but I didn't drink that much.
Yeah.
And I only have 1 meal a day now, and I'm 190 pounds. And I walk. I haven't done it because it's all been ice and snow, and I'm a bit worried about taking it. Because already about 2 weeks ago, I slipped and landed on my head. But I normally walk about 5 miles a day, 2.5 miles in the morning and 2.5 miles in the late afternoon, early evening. It really does make a big difference getting out and walking and just getting out there, because most of us are spending too much time in front of a computer, aren't we?
Yeah. And it's the thing that, we keep kind of finding out a couple different things that are just really not healthy for us. One of them is inflammation. The second one is sitting. And so it's like, we have to find ways to move. It's really important.
Yeah, and I tried all different kind of calorie reductions. And the reason why I just have 1 meal, it's really difficult to really overeat with just 1 meal.
That's right.
And I think applying the same thing to your personal life or personal situations, you should apply. You need to work out a simple plan of action for end result and have something that's sustainable and keep it simple. And I think you can apply that to your business problems as well, don't you? Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. I most of the time what I find, I'm sure you two find this as well, people become frozen in time. They become frozen from taking action because everything's convoluted, it's complex, and they haven't simplified it. One of the things I talk about with my leaders that run the different companies, I'm like, simple, actionable, and repeatable. That's what our communication style needs to be. It needs to be simple. We need to give them things that they can take action on, and then they need to be able to repeat that action in order to continue to find success. And that's true for our personal lives as well. To your point, Jonathan, like in business, in our personal life, we need to have steps that we can take that are simple, actionable, and repeatable. And so if we do those things, then we're going to find success because we know, hey, this is measurable. We're able to see the results. We're able to continue to do it on a regular basis. And it really makes a big difference in personal and professional life. So, I think that you're spot on.
Right, let's wrap it up with a couple of fun questions that I always like to ask my guests. I don't know if you ever watch any British TV, BBC, the Time Lord, the Doctor Who, the Time Machine. Yeah. So if you had your own time machine and you could go back, hopefully, I'm going to speak for you. I imagine you're going to say chill out, but hopefully you've got something a bit more than that. But if you had a time machine and you could really go back to the start of your entrepreneur journey, is there anything that comes to mind that you wish that you knew at the start of it? You wish you could go back and say it to yourself?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot, right? But if I was going to pick one, it would be get the marketing and messaging right for yourself first before you worry about the marketing and messaging for other clients. As an agency owner early on, everything that I did was all about the clients, and it made it so that it was really hard to grow. Because we didn't have the messaging down. We didn't have the offer down. And it took us 4.5 years to figure that out. If I could have figured that out sooner, I'd be 4.5 years further along in my journey than I am now. That'd be really helpful.
That's great. And over to you, Kurt.
I was writing down a note because I thought that was an amazing statement right there. A lot of folks mess that up because you're in such a hurry to help the client. You forget about yourself.
Bingo.
David, I guess the next thing is just, what kind of books, websites, courses, what's inspiration for you? And what could you recommend to our listeners?
Yeah. So, okay. I'm going to give your listeners some things that perhaps they've heard of. And then I'm going to give them some stuff that I'm sure that they haven't. Certainly not for business, because I think that it's really, really helpful to have some of these ideas. So number one, if you're looking to get some outrageous offer stuff done, you can access some of that through my website. I actually put together a free course for that, davevalentine.co/OO for outrageous offer. It's a free e-course. I usually charge $2,500 for people to go get in on that. But I'm giving it to your listeners for free. Some of the things that I really love as far as when it comes to business stuff, Alex Hormozi's $100 Million Offers is a fantastic book that every agency owner should read. It's going to help you with your own marketing, your positioning, your sales. It's also going to help you with your clients. Absolutely love that one. The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield is a seminal work that I read every single year. Have either of you read that book?
Yeah, I have, but a while ago, but I probably have to go back to it. It's always interesting to read a book. I suffer from sorry. I was going to utilize the word suffer. I don't suffer. I have dyslexia, and I tend to listen to audio books. But it's always fantastic to go back, either read or listen to audio book, even a book that's really influenced you, because you go back and listen to it and normally you've missed something and it affects you in a different way, doesn't it?
Yeah, I am one of those people that I'll pick up a handful of new books every year just to see what else is out there. For the most part, I reread really impactful books over and over and over and over again. And Jonathan, to your point, I do a lot of audiobook content, and there's a study that came out last year that shows listening to a book is just as beneficial to our brains as reading the book physically. So if someone starts to say, oh, you just listen to the book, actually, it's just as beneficial as reading it. So don't let anybody denigrate you or put you down for listening. The next one that I would say is fantastic. Ryan Holiday's book, The Obstacle is the Way, is great. He talks about Stoic philosophers. If you don't have any sort of spiritual or religious bent that helps you get through the madness of being an entrepreneur, I kind of think that entrepreneurship's like AA. It's helpful to have a higher power. And so I give a lot of my staff that are atheists, when they're looking for, or agnostics or what have you, when they're looking for something to hold on to, I give them Stoic philosophy as a framework for how to handle the challenges of everyday life. And then the last book that I'm going to give, that I'm sure no one's ever given, I'm a huge follower of a man who died in 2019. His name is Ram Dass. He was a Jewish, he was formerly known as Richard Alpert. He was a Jewish professor at Harvard of psychology and started to engage with psychedelics back in the 60s before anyone knew what they were, before they were banned, before they were illegal. And he was doing these experiments, and he started to realize that he was having some sort of breakthrough, but no one could tell him what was going on. They would have these experiences. They'd be high on drugs, and he'd see through the veil, or whatever you want to call it, through the nature of reality. And then he'd always come back down. And so he ended up traveling to India and meeting a man who did things that he just couldn't explain, and started to just love him so much that he ended up converting to Hinduism and being a teacher. And he used Hinduism and Sufism and every sort of mystic tradition from every religious background you can imagine, he engaged with and he taught with. And I love Ram Dass for so many reasons, but one of them, and the reason why I mention him here, is that in all of his teachings, he likes to remind people that we're all interconnected. We're all irrevocably interconnected. And so he had this statement. He would say, do what you do with another person, but never put them out of your heart. And so often business is hard and you have to make tough decisions and it affects people's lives. And so he challenges me in a positive way. Can I love this person and still write them up? Can I love this person and fire them? Can I love this person and pursue a legal suit because they've harmed my companies? And how do I do that in a very conscious way? And so, anyways, that's a fun one to throw out for you, Kurt.
You get top marks. We give the interviewees, folks, a list of questions. So you'd be surprised, Dave, the amount of people that still come on the show unprepared. So I'll give you 5 out of 5.
Thank you.
Dave, are you okay just to stay on for some extra bonus questions?
Absolutely.
We're going to wrap up the podcast part of the show, folks. I like to keep it to about 30, below 40 minutes. Dave, what is the best way for people to find out more about you, your company, and your ideas and that?
Yeah. So you can go to davevalentine.co. You can check me out there. Like I said, davevalentine.co/OO for that outrageous offer e-course. And I've got another offer for your audience, if it's okay. The SDR firm works with a lot of agencies. And so if someone wants to have, that's listening to this, you've never done SDR, you've never done cold email outreach, and you'd like to try it out, send me an email, david@avadel.agency, AVADEL.agency. Send me an email with the name of this podcast in the headline, and I'll get you set up with 3 meetings for free. Anyone that wants to take advantage of that, get some meetings on.
That's a very generous offer, David. Thank you so much.
And you can also find me on any social media platform @RealDVal is my handle for TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. So there you go.
That's fantastic. And Kirk, what's the best way for people to find out more about you and what you're up to?
If they're watching the video, they can see how to spell my name. And Kurt Von Onen on LinkedIn is the best way to find me. I'm on LinkedIn every day. I connect with everybody. It says follow, but click more, click connect. And, let's do a discovery call. If you want to call it that, let's call it an icebreaker. But it doesn't have to be a sales session, just has to be getting to know each other. And I like to meet the people that I'm connected to.
That's great. We're going to continue the discussion. You'll be able to watch the whole interview on the WP-Tonic YouTube channel, plus some more questions we've got in this great interview. Like I say, just go over to YouTube channel WP and search for WP-Tonic, and you'll find all these interviews plus the bonus content. And please subscribe to the channel. I do another show. We got a ton of really interesting content on the channel. Please subscribe. It really supports the show. And we'll be back next week. To say that I've got some amazing guests coming up in the next couple of months is an understatement. I've got some really interesting and diverse people. We'll be back next week. Thanks so much. See you soon, folks. Bye.
Hey, thanks for listening. We really do appreciate it. Why not visit the Mastermind Facebook group? And also, to keep up with the latest news, click wp-tonic.com/newsletter. We'll see you next time.